Namaste. Hope my voice is audible. Can someone confirm? Astu. Dhanyavadaः. We will start. Gurureva gatihi gurumeva bhaje gurunaiva sahasmi namo gurave na guroh paramam shishurasmi guroho matirasti gurau mama pahi guro. Saraswati namastestu veena pustakadharini hamsavahanamaarudhe vidyadanam kurushvame. So today we will be doing the Patha on Karmani Lakaraha. Okay, so there are 4 lessons covered in your pustaka on this topic, all about Karmani Lakara. So we will do the first lesson today. So before going into the Karmani Lakaraha, we will just see a few basic concepts about the Kriya Padam. So Samskrite Padam Dvividham Bhavati. So in Samskrita there are only 2 kinds of Pada. By Pada I mean a word which is valid word, in the sense you can use that in a sentence. Okay, so this doesn't cover those Pratipadikas. You also know the Pratipadikas, the base word, right, using which you come up with different Subantas, right? So those words are not valid word, in the sense you can't use them in a sentence. So a valid word is a Pada which can be used in a sentence. So they are of only 2 kinds, Subanta or a Tinganta. Okay, so Padam Dvividam Subantam, the other form is Tingantam. So ekasmin vakye bahuni subantani bhavitum arhanti. So if you take one sentence, you can have any number of subantas. Ekam tingantam athava kriya padam avashyam bhavati. So athava adhyahriyate. So this means if you call something a sentence, definitely there should be at least minimum 1 verb in it. Okay, so 1 kriya padam it should have, a sentence should have. So if it doesn't have, it means you will have to add some asti or bhavati. We normally do it in shlokas when we do the anvaya. When we can't, the full sentence, the kriya padam is not there, then we do adhyahara. We add, say, bhavati, asti, right? So normally a sentence is supposed to have minimum 1 kriya padam. That is a tinganta, minimum 1 tinganta. What is a tinganta? Ting yasya ante tat padam tingantam. So tingantam means that word or that pada which has got a ting pratyaya at the end. So you know Subantas, they have the sup pratyayas. So you have a Pratipadika, you add some pratyaya. We said we added some pratyaya and we came out with Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha, 21 forms of Rama, right? 21 forms of Rama formed from Rama by affixing sup pratyayas. So they are called as Subantam. Now here you take the Moola Dhatu, okay, say Pat, Lik. So you have lot of around 2000 and odd dhatus in Samskrita. So we take the Moola Dhatu and we add what is called a Ting Pratyaya. So there are around, Ting is a technical name, it's a name of the Pratyaya. Ting refers to a group of 18 Pratyayas actually. So there are 18 Pratyayas, together they are called as Ting Pratyayas. So when we say Ting, we refer to those 18. Out of the 18, the first 9, that is one set, and the second 9 is a set. And that is how we get different forms, say Parasmaipadi forms, Atmanepadi forms. So you have learnt all these Latlakara forms, right? So 9 forms in Latlakara, 9 forms in Lat. Atmanepadi separately have learnt, Parasmaipadi separately have learnt. So how did you arrive at these forms? You take the Moola Dhatu and you are affixing the Ting Pratyaya. So if you add the first 9 out of that 18, then you end up with the Parasmaipadi forms. If you add the next set of Ting Pratyayas to the Moola Dhatu, you end up with the Atmanepadi Kriya Padas. Okay, so those are basically, whenever you add a Ting Pratyaya and you end up with a form, that form is called a Tinganta because it has got a Ting Pratyaya at its end. Say for example, Pathati, Akarot, Bhavet, Gamishyati, all these are Tingantas. Why? Because they have the Ting Pratyaya at the end. So we have Patati, we have the Pat, the Moola Dhatu, and we suffix the Ting Pratyaya, which is Ti in this case. So in Akarot again, Kr Dhatu, so we have a Ting Pratyaya, say It is added. So in Bhavet again, Bhu is the Moola Dhatu, we add It. And in Gamishyati, so we have Gam Dhatu and we add Syati. So there are different steps. Okay, so finally we have a lot of additions, deletions, and after that we finally end up with these forms. But to understand how these kriya padas are formed, so basically you will have the moola dhatu, you might have other different pratyayas are also there, so one other pratyaya is there, and then finally at the end you will always hear the ting pratyaya. So that is why these basically the lakara forms you can say. So this is a lat lakara is patati, lang lakara is akarot, you know the lakaras. So these lakara forms are called as tinganta. So kriya padani lakaram ashritya bhinnani bhavanti. So you know this. So when you take the pathu dhatu, it will have different forms in lat lakara. It will have different forms in lang lakara. Right? So based on the lakara, the forms of the dhatu also differ. Why? Because the moola dhatu is still the same, but we add different kinds of ting pratyayas, right? So we add, it takes different forms in different lakara. So now we will just brush up about the lakara. So lakaraha ke. So dasha lakaraha in Samskrita, there are 10 lakaras. So you know these lat, lit, lut, rit, late, lot, lung, ling, lung, and ring lakara. Okay, so we have these 10 lakaras in Samskrita. So there is also a karika to remember the names, right? So lat vartamane, late vede, bhute, lung, lang, litas tatha, vidya shishostu, ling, lotau, lutal, ritau, ling, bhavishyati. So if you see this karika, it says lat vartamane. So vartamana kala, lat lakara. Late vede. Where do we use late lakara? It is used only in Vedas. Means the prayoga is seen only in the Vedas. We don't see it in the normal vyavahara. We don't use the late lakara. Bhute, lung, lang, litaha, tatha. So you have 3 lakaras for bhuta kala. So for past tense, we have lung lakara, lang lakara, and lit lakara. And vidhi and ashishi arthe. So in vidhyarthe, ashishyarthe, you have the ling lakara, lot lakara, then lut, rit. So these two are the lakaras for the bhavishyat kala. Ring is also used in bhavishyat kala athava bhuta kala. Okay. So I think we have learnt lat, lung, then lot, vidhiling, and rit lakara. Okay. So till Pathamala 3, I think these lakaras have been covered already. Late, remember we are not, we don't see these prayogas of late anywhere. It's only in Vedas we see. So now, these lakaras on a broad basis you can classify them as kalavachaka lakara and bhavavachaka lakara. Okay, so out of these 10, so remove this late. So from here we will not consider late, but ling is of 2 kinds. One is vidhiling and ashirling. So anyway we will have 10 lakaras. So excluding late and classifying ling as 2 types, vidhiling, ashirling, we will still have 10 lakaras. Out of those 10 lakaras, you have the kalavachaka lakaraha. So kalavachakas, they tell you the kala. Okay, they convey the time. So we have 3 kala. So basically vartamana kalaha, bhuta kalaha, bhavishyat kalaha. So there are 3 time period. So vartamana kala, you know, it's present, bhuta kala is past, and bhavishyat kalaha is future. Now, so how do we define these kala? So vartamana kalaha yasmin kriya arabdha na parisamapta. So the kriya has started but it has not ended. Okay, that is vartamana kala. So when I say saha pathati, I say pathati, the patana kriya has started, arabdha, but it is not yet over. Okay, the patanam is happening. Okay, so that is present tense, vartamana kala. Bhuta kala kriya parisamapta. So when I say apathat, he has completed the action of reading. Bhavishyat kalaha saha patishyati. When I say kriya na arabdha, it has not yet started. He will do it later. Iti artha. So these are the definition for the 3 kala. So for these kalas, we have specific lakaras. So vartamana kala, lat lakara. Lat lakara indicates the vartamana kala. A kriya padam in lit, lung, or lung. All these 3 lakaras will indicate bhuta kala. a kriya that is completed. And lut and rit, these two lakaras indicate future, meaning the kriya has not started. Okay, so we should remember the artha with respect to the kriya. So we know these, anyway, we'll just go through them. Bhavavachaka lakaraha. So another type is bhavavachaka. So kalavachakas, they convey the time. Bhavavachakas, what they convey is the bhava. Okay, so meaning it is like predominantly asking somebody to do something. So you are doing a prerana. Okay, so you are causing someone to do an action. So you can give them an order or you can request them, right? So such kinds of prayoga. So they all come, such kind of sentences where we use a kriya padam. Such kriya padams can be, they relate to the bhava. So bhava vachaka lakaras. So we have lot lakara, vidhiling, ashirling and ring lakara. Okay, so these four lakaras, they are not indicating the kala. It's the lot and vidhiling, if you take, it is prerana. So causing somebody to do something, it could be an agnya. So when you say jalam pibha, so you are saying jalam pibha, then you are giving an order. Okay, so it could be a prarthana, or it could be adya vrishtihi syat, a sambhavana, a possibility expressing, okay, it might rain today, such possibility. Or ashirling is an expression of a wish. Okay, so chiranjeevi bhuyaha, when you say, so you wish something should happen, such as that is ashirling. And ring lakara is hetu hetumad bhava. So when I say a hetu, some cause and effect kind of statements. So when I say, if I had studied very well, I would have passed in the exam, right? So such kind of statements we can use the ring lakara. Okay, so out of these lakaras, so we will predominantly cover the lat, then we have the lung, which you have already learnt, then rit, lot and vidhiling. Okay, so again these five, the major lakaras, these lit and all that we will study later, okay, in the next level probably. So again at this level we will have to have a good knowledge of these forms, lat, vidhiling, lot, lung lakara and vidhiling lakara from the pariksha point of view. Okay. Okay, so पूर्वस्मिन् स्तरे अस्माभिः एते लकाराः अधीताः. So लट् लकारः, लङ् लकारः, लृट् लकारः, लोट् लकारः, vidhiling लकारः. So I have given examples here. So the forms patati, labhate. So one parasmaipadi example and one atmanepadi example is given for each lakara. So we have to be thorough with the forms of these lakaras. Okay, so we continue. Now we will see an example. So the kriya padas, as we said, there will be a minimum of one kriya pada in a statement. Now we are going to we will try to analyze what the kriya pada or what information the kriya pada gives us. Okay, so we have aham phalam kadami. So this is a statement. So here aham phalam. So these words are subantas. Okay, they are the noun forms. Subanta. Kadami is a kriya padam athava tingantam. So any lakara form is a tinganta. Okay, so kadami is a lat lakara form. You know that. So it's a tinganta. Kadami anena kriya padena pradhanyena kim uchyate. So from kadami, so simply if I say kadami, that is also a sentence because there is one verb here. When I simply say kadami, what is that we understand by kadami? So kriyayaha kalaha. So when I say khadami, we are able to understand the kala. So we know it is vartamana kala. The prayoga is vartamana kala. So the kriya pada gives me an information that it is action that is going on. So vartamana kalaha. Kriyayaha karta. Karta ityukte, the doer. Whoever is doing the kriya, he is called a karta, right? So by khadami, it is very obvious that aham is the karta. So when I say khadasi, then it is obvious that tvam is the karta, right? So when you are eating, I'll say kadhasi. When I am eating, I'll say khadami, right? So from the kriya padam, I am able to indicate the karta. Some suchana about the karta is there. So it means kadami means, okay, ekavachana. some aham. So that is the karta. So aham is the karta by when I say khadami. So the kriyayaha karta and kriyayaha kalaha. So by kadami, these two kala and karta are indicated. Okay, they are expressed basically by the kriyapadam. The time period, the kala, kriyayaha kalaha, kriyayaha karta, kriyapadena uchyate. Okay, so this kriyapada indicates these two. वाक्ये यदा कर्तृपदम अस्मत् शब्दः तर्हि क्रियापदम उत्तम पुरुषे भवति. So all this you know. So when the कर्तृपदम means the karta is in asmat shabda, say aham, avam, athava vayam. Aham, avam, vayam, when we use, the kriyapada will be in uttama purusha. When you have the kartrupada in yushmat shabda, say tvam, yuvam, yuyam. So if you have these three forms, then we have the kriyapada in madhyama purusha. And if it is not you, not me, asmat shabda api nasti, yushmat shabda api nasti, then we have the kriyapadam in prathama purusha. Okay, so if you look at this table, it is clear. So you know from the kriyapadam, right? So you know for this karta you use prathama purusha kriyapada. For this type of karta we have to use the madhyama purusha, and for so aham, avam, vayam, yushmat asmat shabda you use the uttama purusha kriyapadani, right? So you know this the karta and the kriyapada, right? The purusha vachana sambandha you already know, right? So if I simply say patathaha, it is understood that it is yuvam patathaha, right? The kriya's kala is also given out by patatha. The kriyayaha karta, this is also given out by the patathaha. The kriyapadam talks about these two, okay? The kala and the karta, okay? So more examples we will see. When I say patata, then you know it is vartamana kala and the karta is yuyam. When I say anamat, take a past tense verb anamat. Again bhutakalaha, you know it is lang lakara, so bhutakala, and karta is saha, sa, tat, athava, ramaha va, sita va, whatever. So some prathama purusha karta. Hasishyasi, if I say, you know it is bhavishyat kala and the karta is tvam, right? So basically from the kriyapadam we are able to guess the kala, the kriya's kala and the kriya's karta. So these two we should remember. Now, so when I say chatraha likhanti, okay, so the students, right, you know these are simple sentences. Dhanikaha yachanti, so the rich people give. Saha katham vadati, sa anujam ahvayati, she calls her brother. Adhyapakaha uttaram dadati, taruni syutam nayati, sarve niyamam palayanti. So these are very, very simple sentences where you can see that the kriyapadam gives information about the kriyayaha kalaha, kriyayaha karta. Both are expressed by the kriyapadam. So these kriyapadena karta suchyate, kartripradhanaha prayogaha, kartari prayogaha. So these kinds of sentences or statements, they are called as kartari prayoga. Okay, so kartripradhanaha prayogaha. Why do we say kartripradhana? Because they are expressing the karta. Okay, so kriyapadena karta suchyate ityatah kartripradhanaha prayogaha, kartari prayogaha. We call these as active voice. Okay, so in English we say active voice. So these kind of sentences where the kriyapadam expresses the karta, they are called as kartari prayogaha. Kartripadasya kriyapadasya cha vachana sambandhaha asti. So you know this also. If the karta is singular, then the kriyapadam is singular. If the karta is in dvivachana, kriyapada is in dvivachana. If the karta is in bahuvachana, then the kriyapadam is also going to be in bahuvachana. So there is a one-on-one relation between the karta and the kriyapadam. So vachana sambandha is there. Purusha sambandha, vachana sambandha, everything is there between the karta and the kriyapadam, and these kinds of sentences are kartari prayogaha. So we call them as kartari prayoga, the kind of sentence. Okay, so it's basically an active voice, we say. Now, the same sentences can be expressed in a different way. So, Chatraha likhanti, I can say Chatraihi likhyate. Okay, the meaning is the same. So, the same meaning is conveyed, but the construction is different. So, Chatraha likhanti in one way is one pattern. Chatraihi likhyate is another pattern. It is written by the students. Iti artha. Chatraihi likhyate, it is written by the students. Dhanikaha yachanti, dhanikaihi diyate. Saha vadati, sorry, it should be vakti. I will change it. Saha vakti tena uchyate. Guruhu dadati, guruna diyate. Taruni nayati, tarunya niyate. So, both sentences gives us the same artha, but the kind of construction is different. So, in the first case, the red one, if you see, you have seen this, it is kartari prayogaha, where the kriya padam indicates the karta. Okay, so this is kartari prayoga. In the second kind of the sentences, chatraihi likhyate, dhanikaihi diyate, tena uchyate, guruna diyate, tarunya niyate. In all these, kriya padena karta na suchyate. Say for example, when I say likhyate, what is written? It is not giving any information about the chatra, right? It is not indicating the chatra basically. Likhyate means is written. Okay, so in likhanti, when we say it writes, so who writes? You say chatra. Okay, likhyate means when it is written, there is no connection between the chatra. The kriya pada doesn't give a suchana of the karta here. Same way diyate, when you say diyate, what is given? Probably dhana or vastra, right? That gives the predominance. What is given there? What is written? Pathaha likhyate, shlokaha likhyate. Same way when I say diyate, you can say dhanam diyate, atava vastram diyate, right? So, tena uchyate. So, now tena uchyate, again uchyate doesn't have any connection with the karta. So, when I say tena varta uchyate, tena shlokaha, whatever is said, that gets the predominance. So, guruna diyate. So, now guru diyate doesn't indicate guru. So, guruna diyate, you can say guruna, you can say uttaram diyate, right? The uttara gets the predominance. By diyate, uttaram is what is indicated and not the guru. By diyate in the second sentence, dhanam is what is indicated. Dhanam diyate, vastram diyate, right? The dhanika is not indicated, right? You understand? The karta is not getting the he is not predominantly indicated by the kriya padam in these cases. That is why we don't call them as kartari prayogaha. So, what are these? These are called as karmani prayogaha. Okay. So, same sentences. When you see, okay, we have two more sentences here. So, okay, chatraihi likhyate, dhanikaha yachanti, dhanikaihi diyate, saha katam vakti. It's not vadati, it is vakti. Tena katha uchyate, sa anujam ahvayati, taya anujaha ahuyate. Adhyapakaha uttaram dadati, adhyapakena uttaram diyate. Taruni syutam nayati, tarunya syutaha niyate. Sarve niyamam palayanti, sarvaihi niyamaha palyate. So, if you see the right side again, so now we have one more karma pada. So, say saha katam vakti ityatra katha iti karma padam. Whereas when you write it as tena katha uchyate, so katha uchyate, so uchyate connects to the katha. It doesn't connect to that tena or the karta, right? So, all these kriya padam in the karmani prayoga, they indicate the karma. Okay, so katha uchyate, anujaha ahuyate, the brother is called by her. Tatra anujam ahvayati, sa anujam ahvayati, she calls. Atra tu taya anujaha ahuyate, the anuja is called by her. the karta becomes tritiya vibhakti. So by somebody, by adhyapaka, by taruni, by sarve, right? So kata is the karta is in tritiya vibhakti, and you have the karma which is indicated by the kriya padam. It is significant now. Anujaha ahuyate, uttaram diyate, syutaha niyate, the bag is taken. Niyamaha palyate, the rule is taken care of, right? So everybody follows the rules. The rule is followed iti artha. So niyama, syutaha, uttaram, all these are the karma pada, and we use them in prathama vibhakti. Okay, now these are indicated by the kriya padam. Okay, so there in the first case it was always the karta which was connected to the kriya padam. Khadami, ham kadami. So kadhasi, when I say tvam khadasi. So there the karta and the kriya padam, they have a one-on-one relation, right? Here in karmani prayoga, karta is in tritiya vibhakti. It is not indicated by anything, right? The kriya pada now expresses the karma, right? So katha uchyate, anujaha ahuyate. So now the karma pada will be in prathama vibhakti. Okay, karma pada will be in prathama vibhakti, and we have the karmani prayoga, the lakara form here, uchyate, diyate, ahuyate. These karmani lakaras will indicate the karma. It will not give any information about the karta. Okay, so we see chatraihi likhyate, dhanikaihi dhiyate, the same sentences. Kriyapadena karma suchyate. So these passive construction, okay, so the passive voice or karmani prayoga is passive voice. So kriyapadena karma suchyate chet karmani prayoga. When do you call it as karmani prayoga? When we have the kriyapada indicating the karma. Okay, so first case it was karta, kartru pradanaha. Here it is karma pradhanaha prayoga, karmani prayoga. Karma padasya, kriya padasya cha vachana sambandha. So here the vachana sambandha is only between the karma and the kriya padam, not the karta and the kriya padam as in the previous case. So there chatraha likati, chatraha likanti. Okay, so there the vachana sambandha was with the kriya padam and the karta. Here it is a karma. Okay, so anujaha ahuyate, anujaha ahuyante. Taya will remain taya, right? So here the karta, whether it is one or two or many kartas, it's okay. It will be in tritiya vibhakti. Okay, so if the karta is many, it is going to be in tritiya bahuvachanam. If karta is two, then it will be in tritiya dvivachanam. Whereas the karma, if it is more than one or if it is dvivachana, the kriya pada will be in dvivachana. If the karma is in bahuvachana, karma pada is in bahuvachana, then the kriya padam will also be in bahuvachana. So it is between the karma and the kriya pada there is a vachana sambandha. Say for example, so niyamaha palyate, niyamaha palyante, syutaha niyate, so syutau niyete. If it is dvivachana, then niyete, right? Uttaram diyate, uttarani diyante, right? So the karta's vachana doesn't matter. Okay, it is only the karma pada and the kriya pada which will follow. The kriya padam always follows the vachana of the karma padam here in a karmani lakara. So now we will just see all the three types of prayogas in Samskrita. So we have three kinds of prayoga, and the lakaras, usage of lakaras, normally it is done in two ways. One is the kartari, the direct, right? So likhati, pathati, or whatever. You have all the dasha lakaras. These forms where they indicate the karta, that is the kartari usage of lakara. We also have another usage of lakara, bhava karmani. Okay, so which means in bhave prayoga or karmani prayoga, we can use the lakara. Okay, so in bhave karmani, the form is the same. The artha is little different, we will see. But the form, kriya padam, is the same. Both bhave prayoga, karmani prayoga, the kriya pada form, rupa, is the same. So these are the two ways in which you can use the lakara forms, right? So three types of prayoga in Sanskritam: kartari prayogaha, karmani prayogaha, bhave prayogaha. So kartuhu pradhanyam yatra tatra kartari prayogaha, where the karta is predominant and your kriya padam goes with the karta. Okay, so it has a vachana purusha sambandha with the karta. It is a kartari prayoga. Where karmanaha pradhanyam yatra tatra karmani prayogaha. So in karmani prayoga you have the karma pradhanya. So which means the object is significant there, and your kriya padam will change according to the number of the object. Then bhave prayoga, bhavasya pradhanyam. Say for example, you take dhatus like uttishtati atava hasati, right? So Ramaha hasati. Okay, so when I say Ramaha hasati, so these verb hasati atava Ramaha uttishtati, when I say, or Ramaha shete, Ramaha roditi, when we have such verbs where you cannot have a karma at all, right? So when I say he cries, or he sits, he walks, or he sleeps, you can't have a karma padam. Okay, so these verbs are called intransitive verbs. So again in Samskrita you have sakarmaka kriya padani, kriya and akarmaka kriya. So sakarmaka kriya, those verbs which can take a karma pada. Say pathati. So patati, when I say, I can say shlokam patati atava patham patati, right? It can take an object. There are words like shete, right? When I say he sleeps, it can't have an object. Shete or uttishtati, hasati, such kind of verbs cannot take any object. Okay, so they are called akarmaka dhatavaha. So akarmaka dhatus are the intransitive verbs. Okay, so karmani is basically for the transitive verbs, and bhave is only for the intransitive verbs. Same form, same kriya padam. We will see how to form the kriya padam and all that. But just that the concept is same. In karmani and bhave, the only difference is karmani prayoga is used for transitive verbs. Whichever verb can take a karma padam, there we make the karmani prayoga. Whichever verbs cannot take a karma pada, say hasati, uttishtati, such verbs, intransitive verbs, we call it as bhave prayoga. The bhava is pradhanyam there. So only the action is conveyed. So it doesn't convey karta or no karma. Karma is not available at all. So it doesn't indicate the karta. So it is only the bhava which is indicated. So that is bhave prayoga. Anyway, we don't have bhave prayoga at this stage. We are only studying about the karmani prayoga. But after you study the forms and all that, you will know it is all the same. The understanding should be there. What is why when we use a bhave prayoga and when we call it as a karmani prayoga. With verbs, I mean with objects, you call it as karmani. Without that, for those verbs which cannot take an object, we call it as a bhave prayoga. Say for example, dhatavaha dvividaha. So sakarmakaha, akarmakaha. So that which can have an object and that which cannot take an object. So in these cases, for sakarmaka dhatus, you can have two kinds of prayoga, which is kartari and karmani. Okay, so when I say pathati, I can say saha patham patati. That is one way of putting it. So kartari prayoga. Tena pataha pathyate. That is another way of giving the same meaning, right? So it is karmani usage. So you can have the prayoga done in kartari or in karmani for the sakarmaka dhatus. So there are also akarmaka dhatus like hasati, right? So it can't take a karma padam, so you can't call it as a karmani prayoga, right? You will not have a karma padam at all. It will not indicate a karma because it doesn't have a karma. It cannot indicate a karma. Such cases you call as bhave prayoga. So Ramaha hasati is kartari. Ramena hasyate is bhave prayoga. Why? Because this has is an intransitive verb. So that is the difference. Forms are all same for both karmani and bhave prayoga. Now we will understand how to arrive at the forms and all that. So kartari prayoga example, Ramaha patham patati, tvam phalam khadasi, avam devam namavaha. So here the kriya padam indicates the karta. Okay, so patati indicates Rama, khadasi indicates tvam, namavaha indicates avam. So kartripadam, here if you see in a kartari prayoga, how do we frame a sentence? Kartripadam prathama vibhaktau. So we always keep the kartripada in prathama vibhakti. Karma pada is always in dvitiya vibhakti. So this is basic kartari sentence. The karma is in dvitiya vibhakti and kartripadam is in prathama vibhakti. Whereas in a karmani prayoga, the same sentence Ramaha patham patati will be Ramena pathaha patyate. So tvam phalam khadasi, tvaya phalam khadyate. Tvaya phalam khadyate. Then avam devam namavaha. Avabhyam devaha namyate. Right? So here kartrupadam will be in tritiya vibhakti. Okay, in a karmani prayoga. Okay, whenever you do a karmani prayoga, kartrupadam should be in tritiya vibhakti. Karma padam will be in prathama vibhakti. So whichever is pradhana, that takes the prathama vibhakti. So in a kartari prayoga, kartrupradhanah prayoga. So we put the kartrupadam in prathama. In a karmani prayoga, the karma pada is pradhana. So we keep the karma padam in prathama vibhakti. Okay, so you have to remember prathama vibhakti is for karta in kartari prayoga. Prathama vibhakti is for the karma in karmani prayoga. So again summary, karta prathama vibhaktau bhavati kartari prayoge, karma dvitiya vibhaktau bhavati kriyapadam kartaram anusarati. So kriyapada will be according to the karta. If karta is in ekavachana, kriyapadam should be ekavachana. If karta is in dvivachanam, kriyapadam will be in dvivachanam. If karta is in bahuvachana, the kriyapada will be in bahuvachana. Kriyapadam parasmaipadini atmanepadini va bhavati. Okay, so it can be a parasmaipadi verb or atmanepadi. So we can say saha labhate atava saha patati, any form, right? Now in a karmani prayoga, karta is always in tritiya vibhakti. Okay, so karta tritiya vibhaktau bhavati, karma prathama vibhaktau bhavati. Okay, so karma padam will always be in prathama vibhakti. Kriyapadam karma anusarati. Okay, so there it was karta. Here according to the vachana of the karma, we have to change the kriyapadam. So pataha patyate, pathau patyete, pathaha patyante. Okay, so it will change according to the karma pada. Kriyapadam atmanepadini eva bhavati. Okay, so this is one rule. Whether the dhatu is a parasmaipadi dhatu like pat, lik, or it's a atmanepadi dhatu, whatever it is, in karmani prayoga, the ending will sound like atmanepadi form only. Okay, so patyate, if you say patyate is like labhate, the form is like an atmanepadi. So we have to add the atmanepadi suffixes only to the dhatu. Okay, irrespective of whether that dhatu is a parasmaipadi dhatu or atmanepadi dhatu, whatever it is, we are adding the atmanepadi suffix to it. Okay, so we will have to know the atmanepadi forms in each lakara so that we come up with the forms in karmani. Okay, so you will know that. So we will see this how you arrive at a kriya padam. Okay, karmani kriya padam, how do we arrive at it? So you take the mula dhatu, add yakara and the atmanepadi pratyayaha. So as in we haven't learned the atmanepadi suffixes separately, all you can do is say for lat lakara, remember the forms of labh dhatu, which is atmanepadi dhatu. So labhate, labhete, labhante, labhase, labhete, labhadve, labhe, labhavahe, labhamahe. So these endings should be present here. That's all. So in karmani prayoga, you will have the endings like those of the atmanepadi forms in the respective lakaras. Okay, so again in karmani you can have all the lakaras, right? Whatever lakara, villat, lit, what, all the lakaras you will also have in karmani. All you have to do is, in certain cases we will add this ya, most probably we will see this later. For now remember dhatu, ya and atmanepadi ending. Okay, the ending, the pratyaya, the suffixes will sound like the atmanepadi, they are the atmanepadi pratyayas. It will sound like your atmanepadi forms in each lakara. The dhatu rupa should sound like that. So this will give you the bhava karmani kriya padam. So in bhava atava bhave prayoga atava karmani prayoga, this is how we come up with the dhatu, I mean the kriya padam. Say for example take pat, ya, and we have te. So te is in prathama purusha ekavachanam. Now we will only see the prathama purusha ekavachanam form, so that we will know how to arrive at it. Once you know the prathama purusha form, the rest of the forms you can write yourself. Okay, so pat, ya, the, patyate is the form in karmani. Same way khad, ya, te, Khadyate. Okay, so in Karmani we use Khadyate. Phalam Khadyate. Pataha Pathyate. Vand ya te vandyate. So Devaha vandyate. Nam ya te namyate. Again Devaha namyate or Guruhu namyate. Right? So Namami in Kartari namyate. Right? Or Namu and ya and all the other same way, like how. So namyate will be declined like your labhate. Labhate, labhete, labhante. Same way namyate, namyete, namyante. Right? So we will now only see the Prathama Purusha Ekavachanam forms for few more dhatus. So likhati, again likh, mula dhatu, ya and te. Likhyate. Okay, likhyate. Rakshati, raksh, mula dhatu, ya te. Rakshyate. Dhavati, dhav, ya te. Dhavyate, dhavyate. Nind is the mula dhatu. Nind, ya te. Nindyate, to censure. Nindyate. Pach, ya te. Pachyate. So pachati, mula dhatu is pach. So pachu yate pachyate is the form in Karmani. Okay, in Karmani Prayoga, this is the form of the verb. Sivyati. So sivadatu to weave cloth, no? So weaving. So sivyati in Latlakara Kartari. So siv plus ya plus te, sivyate. So it should be sivyate. Sorry, siv is the mula dhatu. Sivyate will be the form. Shlishyate, shlishyate. So shlish is embrace, to embrace. That is shlish. Shlish dhatu. Shlishyati in Kartari. Shlishyate in Karmani. Okay, so in Karmani always dhatu, yakara and you add the Atmanepadi form ending. Okay, the suffix should be that of Atmanepadi dhatu. Pibati. Pa is the dhatu. Mula dhatu for pibati is pa. So pa yate piyate. Okay, so there are again, it's not always the same combination. Sometimes you hear a dirgha or you hear a hrasva, right? So you will have to learn. Certain forms are to be remembered. Say some akarantas will take form like piyate. E sound will be there, right? It's not payate, it is piyate, right? Tishtati. So stha dhatu. Sthiyate, sthiyate. Gayati, again ga. Okay, so gai is the dhatu. Ga is taken. So all ikarantas taken as akaranta ending when we come up with the form to arrive at this form. Giyate. Okay, so giyate. Gai becomes ga and then ga becomes, ga plus ya plus te will be giyate. Mati. Ma ya te miyate is measured. Miyate. So mati to measure. Miyate is measured. Dadati. Da ya te diyate. Danam diyate. Vastram diyate is given. Right? Janati. Nya is the dhatu. For janati we say nyayate. Here it is not ikaranta sound, it is akaranta sound. Nyayate. Okay. So pastha, ga, ma, da, all this takes ikaranta. Right? Piyate, sthiyate, giyate, diyate. Right? Whereas for nya dhatu it is nyayate. Maya gnayate. I know it. Okay. Krinati. So kri, the dhatu is kri, to buy. Krinati, kriyate. Jayati, jiyate is one. To win. Jayati, he wins, is one, is jiyate. Chinoti, to pluck or to select. Chiyate, chiyate. Then we have bhavati, bhuyate. Bhu, it becomes bhuyate, bhuyate. Shrunoti, shruyate. Shruyate is heard. Mama dhvanihi shruyate va. So, is my voice heard? Iti. Shruyate. Shru plus yate. Shruyate. stauti to praise, okay, to do stavana, to praise someone. So stauti, stuyate. So you have stuyate. So all these verbs are not given in the pustaka, just for you to practice how to arrive at the kriya padam. I have added these. So for some akarantas will take the e ending, like we saw in pa, piyate, sthiyate, right? Some, not all. Again, not all akaranta dhatus will take this form. For few familiar dhatus, from some common dhatus I have taken here, that is all. So here if you see kri, ji, chi, all these ikarantas and ukarantas here. Okay, for ikaranta, ukaranta, the default rule is the dirgha is heard. Okay, so kri, kriyate, ji, jiyate, chi, chiyate. Same way ukaranta, shru, shruyate. So for both ikaranta, ukaranta, mostly the dirgha is heard. There are lot of exceptions. Okay, lot of exceptions. The forms are different. It is only through familiarity that you will understand. Okay, so going through it again and again, or seeing these prayogas somewhere, you will remember. Otherwise, don't keep it as a rule, like if it is like this, it will take this rupa. No, there are exceptions. Okay, so ikaranta, ukaranta, so dirgha is normally heard. So now karoti, so kr dhatu, kriyate. Okay, karoti, kriyate. Dharati, dharati, to wear, he wears. Dharati, dhriyate. Okay, dhriyate. Smarati, smaryate. Smaryate is remembered. Then we have this certain dhatus, like vakti. So vakti is vach dhatu's form. So vadati is vad dhatu's form. Vakti is vach dhatu's form. So vach dhatu's form takes uchyate. So this uchyate is very, very common. We hear it everywhere. So it is vach forms karmani. Okay, it is not vad form. So vad will be vadyate. Udyate. Udyate. But vakti, vach dhatu form is uchyate. So we don't use vakti much, but we do use uchyate, right? Uchyate is from vach dhatu. Vahati, vah plus ya plus te, uhyate. Uhyate. And we have vadati, which is very common. Udyate. Okay, tena udyate, right? It is told by him. Okay, udyate. Vasati, ushyate. Okay, so most of the vakara dhatus, you can see that there is a change from va to u, right? This too happens for some dhatus, right? So these are some common dhatus I have collected and I have put here. Okay, so you can go through these forms and remember these forms. Now if you see, so this is how you use in kartari. Say take a patha dhatu in lat lakara. You have these forms, right? Patati, patataha, patanti, you all know these forms. Same in karmani. How do we get the forms? It is like an atmanepadi dhatu. So if it is for lat lakara, take say labh dhatu or ed dhatu, whatever atmanepadi dhatu forms that you know, and this dhatu should sound like that. Say labhate, labhete, labhante. Same way, pat plus ya plus te. You will have to add that yakara and get the other forms. That's all. Pathyate, pathyete, pathyante, like labhate, labhete, labhante. Then patyase, pathyete, pathyadve. Same way, labhase, labhete, labhadve. The ending should be like that of an atmanepadi. Okay, dhatu. Right? So take the labhu forms. If you know the labhu forms very well, take pat dhatu, add yakara and add those suffixes, thing suffixes. Te, okay, ete, ante, right? You have to add these things suffixes and arrive at the forms. Patyate, patyete, patyante, patyase, patyete, patyadve, patye, patyavahe, patyamahe. Same, similar to labh form. Only thing is we have this dhatu plus ya. We add a yakara and we add the atmanepadi suffixes. Same way for the next lang lakara, apathat, apatatham, apatan, apataha, apatatam, apatata, apatam, apatava, apatama. This is how you use pat dhatu in kartari lang. In karmani lang lakara, again pat ya. The akara is standard, you know it is for lang lakara, you use the a. So a will be there, pat is there, yakara. You are adding one ya and then alabhara, alabhetam, alabhanta. Take the lang lakara form of labh dhatu. Okay, whatever atmanepadi dhatu or vand dhatu, raj dhatu, whatever you have learnt. So labhadatu, alabhata, alabhetam, alabhanta, apathyata, apatyetam, apathyanta, right? Alabhataha, alabhetam, alabadhvam, apathyataha, apatyetham, apatyadhvam, right? Alabhe, alabhavahi, alabhamahi, apatye, apathyavahi, apathyamahi. So here that pattu and ya is together, right? Patya is the rupa, and they are declined like the labhadhatus lang lakara forms. Okay, so this is how we decline in different lakaras. All you have to know is the atmanepadi forms in that lakara. If you know that, simply take the dhatu, add yakara and get those forms. Say lot lakara, pathatu, patathat, pathatam, patantu, patha, patathat, pathatam, patata, pathani, pathava, pathama. So this is lot kartari. For patidhatu, lot karmani will be like labhatam, labhetam, labhantam, labhasva, labhetam, labdhvam, labhai, labhavahai, labhamahai. Same way pattu, ya and the atmanepadi suffixes. So pathyatam, pathyetam, pathyantam, patyasva, pathyetam, patyadhvam, patyai, patyavahai, patyamahai. Okay. So here if you see, same happens for the vidhiling also. Okay, so you just have to add the yakara and take the vidhiling forms of labhadhatu or whatever atmanepadi dhatu that you have in your mind, then you can form the lakara forms in karmani, right? So this is the summary. In kartari prayoga, kartrupadam is in prathama vibhakti, karma padam dvitiya vibhakti, kriya padam can either be parasmaipadi form or atmanepadi form, right? It depends. And it follows kartrupadam anusarati, it always follows the karta. Karta is singular, kriya padam is singular. The vachana sambandha is there between the karta and the kriya padam. Pradhanyam kartuhu pradhanyam. Okay, so what is predominantly indicated by the kriya pada is the karta. Now in a karmani prayoga, karta should be in tritiya vibhakti. We keep it in tritiya vibhakti. So tena uchyate. Okay, so tena likhyate, right? So tena, the karta is in tritiya vibhakti, used in tritiya vibhakti, and the karma, because it is a karma pradhana prayoga, karma is kept in prathama vibhakti, and the kriya padam, karma padam anusarati. Kriya pada always follows the karma pada. If karma pada is single, say pataha, pathyate, pathau, patyete, pathaha, pathyante, right? So irrespective of the karta, here the change is the vachana sambandha is with the karma pada in a karmani prayoga. So karma padam prathama vibhaktau bhavati, kriya padam atmani padini eva, sorry, atmane padini eva, it is only in atmane pada. It cannot, if pathu is the parasmaipadi dhatu, you know, it doesn't have atmanepadi forms, but when you use it in karmani, whatever be the form, irrespective of the dhatu you use, it should take the forms of atmanepadi forms only. Okay, it should have the atmanepadi suffixes at the end. It cannot have a parasmaipadi taha anti form, will not be heard in karmani, right? So atmanepadini eva bhavati kriya padam, then karma padam anusarati, then madhya yakaraha shruyate. Okay, so we saw, you hear that ya, okay, in between the dhatu and the atmanepadi suffixes. And pradhanyam, karmanaha pradhanyam, it always indicates the karma. By pathyate, what is indicated? It is the patha, not rama. Say ramaha patham patati, there patati indicates rama, whereas ramena pathaha patyate, by patyate, patha is only indicated, not rama. What is read? The pustaka is read, the lesson is read, right? It is not talking anything about rama, right? Whoever reads it, it is a patha that is being read, right? So there is always a karmanaha pradhanyam. Okay, so that. Now we will see the sopana for converting it from kartari to karmani. If you have a sentence in kartari, how do we convert it into karmani? So first is karma padasya vibhaktehe parivartanam. So there will be two vibhakti parivartana, one for the karta and for the karma, right? So karma pada from 2 to 1. So in kartari prayoga, karma pada is in dvitiya vibhakti, so you convert it to prathama vibhakti. So for karma pada 2 to 1 is the conversion. Kartrupadasya vibhaktehe parivartanam 1 to 3. Karta in a kartari prayoga is in prathama vibhakti. In a karmani prayoga, it should be in tritiya vibhakti. Ramena pathyate, right? Ramaha patati, Ramena Pathyate. So you will have the Kartripada Parivartana will be 1 to 3. Remember the Vibhakti numbers for Karma Pada 2 to 1. From a Kartari to Karmani. When you want to translate, convert a sentence in Kartari Prayoga, active voice, to Karmani Prayoga, to passive voice. First thing is Karma Pada from Dvitiya Vibhakti to Prathama Vibhakti. Okay, 2 to 1. And second step, Kartripadam. Take the Kartripadam from Prathama to Tritiya, 1 to 3. Okay. And Kriya Padam should be converted. You know how to change it, right? So you add the Yakara. So take the Mula Dhatu, Yakara and the Atmanepadi suffixes. Okay. So that is how you change the Kriya Pada. And finally, Karma Padam Anusritya Kriya Padasya Parivarthanam. So first form the Dhatu, form the basic form by adding the Yakara. And as per the Vachana of the Karma, it should take the right Vachana. Okay. If the Karma Padam is in Ekavachanam, then Kriya Padam should be in Ekavachanam. If the Karma Pada is in Dvivachanam, say Phalam Khadyate, Phale Khadyete, Phalani Khadyante. Okay, so Khadyate, Khadyete, Khadyante. Here Phalam Phale Phalani. Right? So as per this Karma Pada, the Kriya Pada should change. Right? The Vachana Sambandha should be between the Kriya Padam and the Karma Pada. So, Sita Shlokam Patati is one example. So, first step, Shlokam is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. We are converting 2 to 1. We make it a Shlokaha. Okay, so Shlokaha. And then take the Karta, who is Sita. Now, Sita is in Prathama Vibhakti. Change it to Tritiya. So, Sitaya. Right? Second step, Karmapada, Kartripada Vibhakti Parivartanam. Anantaram, Patati is the Latlakara Prayoga done. So you take the Latlakara form only. Say take Pattu, Ya and take Te, Patyate. Form that basic Patyate, you keep that ready. And then according to the Karma Pada, how many ever is there, you can change it. So Patyate is the basic Swarupa for that Karmani Lakara. And then Sitaya Shlokaha. Shloka is Ekavachanam. So Patyate. Sitaya Shlokaha Patyate. If it was many Shloka, then Shlokaha Patyante. Or if she read 2 Shlokas, then Shlokau Patyete. Patyate, Patyete, Patyante. Right? Same way, Shlokaha, Shlokau, Shlokaha. According to this, your Karma Pada should, the Kriya Padam should change. It should have Vachana Sambandha with the Karma Pada. Okay? So, this is how you convert from Kartari to Karmani. 1 second. Saha Vadati, why is it wrong? Because Vadati will take the form Udyate. It should be Vakti. We always tend to write Vadati in more than Vakti, we use Vadati more, right? So I have made the mistake. Okay, so I am fast. Okay. So if there are any questions you can ask, sorry. Okay. So Karma Padasya, Kriya Padasya cha Vachana Purushaha, Vachana Purusha Sambandha Smartavyah. Okay, so once you do this 2 sopana first, the first 2 steps first, Karma Pada conversion from 2 to 1, then Kriya, the Kartripada from 1 to 3. Right? So 2 to 1 and 1 to 3, these 2 Vibhakti Parivartanam should happen compulsorily for Karta and Karma. When the third step, when you do the Kriya Padam, so first arrive at the basic form in Ekavachana. So Pattu, Ye, Pattu, Ya, Te. Right? Whatever Lakara is given there. Here in the example, Patati is given. So you know it is Lat Lakara. If they have given Apatat, then you will have to say Apatyata. Right? So as per the Lakara also, just take the Mula Dhatu, add Yakara, add the Atmanepadi suffixes and arrive at the basic Ekavachana form, and then look at the Karma Padam. If it is singular, keep it as singular. If the Karma Pada is more than 1, then accordingly you have to change the Kriya Padam. Okay. So we will see examples are there. So we can try a few examples. You can raise your hands if you wish to answer them. So some sentences we have. Okay. Prema Bhagini.
Namaste, Bhagini.
Namaste. So you can try to convert this sentence into Karmani. So
Maya pataha patyante.
first read the sentence in Kartari.
Aham patan patami.
Correct.
Is in Kartari.
Correct.
Maya pataha patyante. Is in
Correct.
Karmani.
Exactly. So Maya. So 1 to 3 conversion for Karta. 2 to 1 for Kriya Padam. Patan is Bahuvachanam. So we are making it as Pataha. Okay. So you have to see the Vachanam also. If it instead of Aham it was Avam Vayam, then you have to say Maya Avabhyam Asmabhihi. Right. So the Vachana Sambandha should be there when you do the conversion. 2 to 1 or 1 to 3. While you do this Vibhakti conversion, keep the Vachana also in mind. Maya Pathaha Patyante. Samyak Bhagini. Next one.
Dhanyavadah.
धन्यवादः. Annie Mary Mahoday.
Namaste.
Namaste Bhagini.
Pita putrau rakshati. Pita putrau means putrau rakshyate.
Putrau, how did you? This is in Putrau is in Dvitiya Vibhakti.
So it remains the same. Putrau rakshyate.
Correct. Both in Prathama and Dvitiya, the same form in Dvivachanam. Right. So Putrau Rakshyete. Did you say Rakshyete? I didn't hear the last part. Putrau is
maybe.
In the second sentence, it is in Prathama. In the first sentence, Putra is in Dvitiya. But the forms are same. Right. So one is Rakshati. Then the second, in Karmani, it is Rakshyete because now it is Karma Pardana. Right. So Putra is in Dvivachanam. So we have Rakshyete. Okay. So you should not say Rakshyate. You should say Rakshyete because Putra is Dvivachanam. Astu
Rakshyete.
Rakshyete. Yeah. Fine. Shyamala Bhagini.
Namaste Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Tvam nicholam sevyasi.
So Tvam is Prathama Vibhakti. So Kartru Vibhakti. Tvaya. 1 to 3. Tvaya. Yes.
Tvaya. Nicholam will be in
Pullinga pada. Yeah, Pullinga. Nicholaha. Sivadatu Sivayate. Sivyate. That's all. Nicholaha is singular. So you can have Sivyate. Okay. So he weaves. A nichola is a petticoat. Okay. So okay. The next one. Dhanyavadaha. Rajini Mahoday.
Namaste Bhagini.
Namaste.
Ramah Lakshmanam Shlishyati.
He embraces.
Ramena Lakshmanah Shlishyate.
That's all. Yes. Shlishya and te. Shlishyate. Ramena Lakshmanaha Shlishyate. Lakshmana is embraced or hugged by Rama. Dhanyavadaha Bhagini. We have.
Dhanyavad.
Urmila Bhagini.
Namaste, madam.
Oh, sorry. Namaste. Yes.
Balo Kandukam Shipataha. Balo is 1.2.
Yes.
Becomes Balabhyam.
3.
And then Kandukam is singular 1.1.
No, it's 2.1.
Oh, yeah, 2.1. Sorry. 2.1 should become 1.1. So Kandakaha and
Shipdatu.
Shipyate.
Correct. So Kandukaha Kshipyate. Kshipyate.
Shipyate. बालाभ्यां कन्दुकः क्षिप्यते.
Kshipyate. Yes. So for others who are not familiar with this 3.1, 2.1, so they keep the numbering. So this bala is prathama vibhakti and 1.3 means prathama bahuvachanam. Okay, that is what she says, 1.3. So it should be converted into tritiya bahuvachanam. Okay, so 1.3 should become 3.3. Same way kandukam is dvitiya vibhakti ekavachanam, 2.1. It should become 1.1. Okay, the vachana should not change. If it is 3, it should be 3. If it is 1, it should be 1. Right? Only the vibhakti should change. Okay. Yes. Dhanyavadaha.
धन्यवादः.
Oh. The next one.
विद्यार्थिनः परीक्षां लिखन्ति.
1 second. Sorry. Dr. Prakash Mohini Mahoday.
नमस्ते भगिनी.
नमस्ते नमस्ते.
विद्यार्थिनः परीक्षां लिखन्ति. विद्यार्थिनः is 1.3.
Correct.
So it will be vidyarthi.
Like gunin shabda. Vidyarthin iti.
Vidyarthinaah. Tritiya will be vidyarthihi. Sorry.
Vidyarthibhihi. Yeah. Vidyarthibhihi. Like guni shabda.
Sorry.
Gunin shabda.
No
problem. Yes.
Pariksham. Pariksham will be 1.1 pariksha.
Ha. Pariksha. Yes.
विद्यार्थी परीक्षा लिख्यते.
Likhyate, likhyate. Pariksha singular, so we keep it as likhyate. Okay, so vidyarthin declined like guni shabda, so vidyarthibhihi prathama tritiya bahuvachanam. Pariksha likhyate, likhyate, likhyate. Dhanyavadaha bhagini. Archana Joshi bhagini. Sorry, you can unmute yourself. Archana Bhagini, you can unmute. Yes.
Devalakah Bhagavantam Archayati. So it will be Devalakaihi.
Devalakah singular. Why Devalakaihi plural?
So it will be Devalakena.
Correct.
Bhagavantam. So Bhagavan.
Correct.
Bhagavan. Bhagavan Archayate. Archyate.
Yes. Okay. So Devalaka is singular. So we keep it as Devalakena. Devalakena. Bhagavan, Bhagavantau, Bhagavantaha. Bhagavantam is dvitiya ekavachanam. So we have prathama ekavachanam is Bhagavan. So Devalakena Bhagavan Archyate. So Devalaka is Archaka, one who worships or does Archana, like a priest. Right? He is Devalaka. Ekavachanam. Dhanyavada Bhagini. Correct. Devalakena Bhagavan Archyate. Okay. ASK 5 Mahoday. I can't hear you. You're speaking? Na shruyate. Dhvanihi na shruyate. Your voice is not heard. Okay. Raghavan Mahoday.
राकचिकौ काट्टं गण्डयतः. Krakachikau.
Krakachika is a sawyer, one who uses a saw to cut the wood. He's Krakachika. Yeah, so it's a like pullinga pada, like Ramau.
Krakachika.
Ramena Ramabhyam Ramaihi.
Krakachikabhyam. Krakachikabhyam kattah.
Kashtam napumsakalinga.
Kashtam.
Kashtam eva. Kashtam.
Kandyate.
Yes. So when you have a napumsakalinga pada, you have the same form both in dvitiya and prathama. Vanam vane vanani, vanam vane vanani. Same forms. So kashtam khandyate. Correct. So krakachikabhyam. Okay. So tritiya dvivachanam kashtam khandyate. Dhanyavadaha. Dhanyavadaha. Okay. So I think we will stop here. I will post few questions as homework, so you can try to convert from Kartari to Karmani. Dhanyavadaha. We meet next Wednesday. You have any questions, you can raise your hands, otherwise we can stop here. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. धन्यवादः.